I, 28 female, am being held hostage at my parents' place and I don't know what to do. I am so exhausted of fighting. I'm writing this on my phone in a very emotional state. 3 years ago, I made a post about how my family stopped talking to me because I didn't travel back to my home country to get my surgery done. Well, things never really got better. I started talking to them maybe a year after my surgery when they reached out, and it wasn't great. All we did was fight, and any cordial conversations were conversations of no value. Essentially just limited to how's work going, what did you eat, blah blah blah. Last year, they showed up to Australia out of the blue, and I didn't handle that well. My partner and I met them, but suffice to say they weren't very happy. Coming back to today, I came to visit them in India, with my partner staying with us for a week, and then 2 weeks without him. They were adamant they only wanted to spend time with me. I was keen to work on the relationship because I do want to get married and have the option to have potential kids, and I can't really or don't want to do that without them involved in my life. I'm dating an Australian guy, 28 male, who I've been in a relationship with for over 5 years. They made an excuse so that we couldn't stay with them together, but they met up with us for lunch the day my partner was leaving. Ever since I've started staying with them, they started talking about how I should extend my trip. I've made it very clear about how I can't, and I've had multiple fights with them over this. One of them, where my dad started talking about how I'm essentially filth, and I live in filth, and he can't believe that he's been loving filth this entire time. They've been taking me around our relatives and didn't let me leave the day that I had my return ticket. I've cried so much talking to them, but apparently, the plan always is what they want from me. They've said that I'm not allowed to leave anymore because apparently I've become a very negative person and they are worried about me. They have said that the Australian chapter is closed for me and that I'm staying here from now on. I'm so scared and I really don't know how to deal with this situation and am looking for advice from anyone at all. I want to leave, but I'm worried that they're going to stand ground at the door from now on and won't let me walk out. My brother is physically bigger and stronger than me, and he isn't on my side either. In the comments, Razmataz Unique says, "Pretend like you're running to the corner shop for something, jump in a taxi to the airport, and never look back. Just leave everything there. You can always buy new clothes, etc. Take your phone, passport, and purse. I just saw your post from a couple of years ago. This family is terrible and abusive, and you need to get as far away from them as possible, as quickly as possible." OP replies, "Thank you for commenting. My boyfriend has said the same thing. He said everything is replaceable, but my safety has to be the top priority. I really want to get back to my safe space somehow, which is with my boyfriend in Australia." Lucy Loves Apples asks, "Do you have Australian citizenship?" OP replies, "Nope, unfortunately not. Otherwise, I could imagine Australian Embassy being a lot more involved. You need to get yourself somewhere safe now. Grab your things and leave without telling them and go to a hotel in a tourist city where it would be harder for them to find you. Do not contact them. Once you're at the hotel, book a one-way ticket back to Australia. It may be possible for you to seek asylum in Australia due to your personal safety in India." I guess one of the things that comes to mind is like, why in those 5 years did you not just apply for a partner visa in Australia and get dual citizenship so that you would be protected in situations like this? Which is obviously easier said than done, but at the same time, you've been dating him for more than 5 years. It seems like Australia is a long-term thing for you, especially given how abusive your family is and, you know, how clear it is you can't live with them and you can't be in India with them. I would have thought that you would have undergone that process at some point in the last 5 years with your boyfriend. Also assuming that you want to be with him long term, like after these 5 years. Anyway, take the advice of your boyfriend, take the advice of the comments, get the fuck out of there as soon as possible, at your earliest convenience, and don't look back. You're asking for permission, here is your permission. That is what you need to do. There are no other options. And now, on to the update. Thank you everyone for all your concerns, suggestions, and for giving me hope. I didn't want to update sooner because it struck me very late that there is a small possibility that my brother uses Reddit. The chance of him coming across this posts were very slim, but I didn't want to risk anything. In short, I ended up running away from home. I'm still contemplating if the decision that I took was too extreme for the situation, but I think I'll go crazy if I go down that rabbit hole. A couple of friends of mine had a friend, who I met last month but was hesitant to reach out because he was a fairly recent friend in a town 3 hours away, so my boyfriend and my friends planned my getaway. I was constantly surrounded by my relatives and parents to plan things, but for everyone reading, I am of sound mind, and the decision to do this was mine alone. I snuck out the night that we came back home from my relatives on the pretext of going out for a walk, but I know they'd probably have found out not too long after I left. My friend was waiting in his car close to my place, and he drove me to the airport. It was perfect, because booking a cab would have had issues with timing. I didn't know when would be a good time to sneak out, so having a friend around gave me the flexibility to sneak out at my own convenience. The priority was getting out of the country as soon as possible without even knowing what was the best way to get to Australia. This was also crazy timing with the Indigo fiasco. I'm not sure if it helped or hurt our chances. I could only do this because of the immense support from my friends back home who spent a lot of time planning the routes and booking the flights for me, so as to not arouse any suspicion from my family and very little time for them to act. I've had messages from them and a few calls. All I've done is message them that it was my decision to leave and list a couple of points on why and that I'd be keen to work on the relationship if they can try to come around to my life choices. Thank you everyone again, and especially to people who reached out to make sure I'm doing okay. In the comments, quote, I'd be keen to work on the relationship if they can try to come around to my life choices. Mate, you're setting yourself up to be kidnapped again. Next time you won't get out in one piece, if at all. They'll pretend to come around to your life choices and then convince you to come visit again or want to meet you somewhere, and you'll never be heard from again. Don't do this. They showed you who they are and the lengths that they will go to control you. Believe their actions, not their words. They are a danger to you. I'm so glad you got away. Don't ruin this second chance that you've been given by trusting them again. I saw your last post, and I'm very glad and relieved that you escaped. Time to cut contact with your family. Focus on you. Your relationship with them died when they stopped you from leaving. Don't let it continue. You have no guarantee that they won't try this again in the future. I'm really happy for you, but I have to say that you're being naive about your family and prospects of any future relationship with them. They have shown you ample proof that they don't care about your happiness and well-being. They trapped you in their home with the intention of destroying the happy life that you made for yourself in Australia. Your boyfriend, your job, your friends, everything you worked so hard to achieve. I think it's very likely that they would have forced you into an arranged marriage if you had stayed there and not had the support to plan your escape. If you ever return to India and place yourself in their power again, you will be in serious danger. They now know that you want to be free, and in the future, they will ensure that you are completely trapped. They may pretend to accept your life choices and use that to trick you. It's a very personal decision whether you want to go low contact or no contact with your family, but I hope you are aware that you can no longer have that same level of trust in them. I wish you all the very best for the future. Me too, OP. I feel like you were being extremely naive at the end of that post there, thinking that a relationship with them is possible at all. And I think you have been conditioned to accept the abuse that they have given you all of your life. Please listen to those comments. Please take it seriously because this is a very serious situation. I know it's a hard decision, but you have to go no contact with them. I don't think there is another choice here. They will kidnap and disappear you if you allow them to ever know where you are in the future. Like, this is levels of seriousness where you need to have private profiles for everything and not have your location shared, because this family is psychotic and will come after you. Good luck and take care, OP. Our next post is by user ZestyCloseBlock, titled, My girlfriend found out that I lied about me and my friends playing fantasy football, and I know I screwed up big time. I know it was wrong to lie to my girlfriend, and I probably should have just told her the truth. I lied because I didn't want to hurt her or upset her, but I realize it was still a lie. I've been playing fantasy football with some friends for years. We're all big sports fans, but football's the biggest. Last season, one of the guys dropped out of our fantasy league because he said that it was taking up too much of his time and he was afraid that it was pushing him into a gambling problem. We needed another player, and my girlfriend watches football, so we asked her to play. I know I'm gonna catch heat for saying this, but it wasn't as fun playing with her as I thought it would be. I don't know if it was beginner's luck or what, but she pretty much destroyed the rest of us all season. It wasn't fun losing to her. So this season, we just decided to tell her that we weren't playing this year. I didn't want to at first, but the other guys insisted. We invited the new brother-in-law of one of the other guys to play instead. I just told her that everyone was too busy to play this year, and she didn't question it. On Thursday night, we slipped up, and she found out that we are still playing. She had to go to work, but she was pissed off. She's been frosty since she got home Friday morning. Next weekend, we're supposed to go on an out-of-state wedding. Her family isn't from Chicago, but now she said she wants to go by herself. I tried to explain, but it just made her mad. It's nothing personal, no one hates her or anything, and I know I'm gonna catch heat in the comments. Every time I try to explain, it makes it worse. I screwed up and there's no way around it, but she was so upset and I don't know what to do to make it better. I know I fucked up. In the comments, oh, you definitely messed up. This won't even be about excluding her from something, but about how you were okay lying to her. The key to relationships is communication. My only suggestion for your current situation would be to man up, take full responsibility, and apologize, then sit down and have an honest conversation with her about why you did what you did and what you plan to do to make sure communication is honest going forward. If you're lucky and work for it, you'll be able to build up trust again. OP replies, yeah, I know you were right. I make no excuses. I realize I screwed up. Every time I try to explain, I make it worse. I did apologize, but she doesn't want to hear it right now. I understand why she's mad, and I don't make any excuses for lying or hiding it. I should have stuck to my guns when the other guys insisted. Don't try to deflect onto the other guys. They're not in this relationship. You are, for now. They didn't decide to lie, you did. Own up to it and take the consequences. Nah, you were happy to go along with the guys, even though you knew it meant doing something hurtful to your girlfriend. Getting validation and approval from them was more important than your girlfriend's feelings. That's 100% on you. My genuine recommendation in this situation, OP, is to go to couples counseling for this one. You realize that the more you talk, the worse you make it, and you want to save this relationship. If you don't go to couples counseling and get an impartial third party to, stop your brain from saying stupid shit that is making the situation worse and actually speak proper sentences that are not inflammatory, then you will lose this relationship. That is my suggestion here. We are not all born with the ability to communicate in a way that does not piss off others, unfortunately. You were born with that ability, unfortunately, so now you have to find modern solutions to this modern problem. You screwed up big time. You deserve to be iced out by her. It's how you deal with this situation from here that will decide if she sticks with you or not, because you have destroyed the trust in that relationship. You're an asshole for doing that. And now, on to the update. So it's over. I know I screwed up and the writing was on the wall. The worst part is that I have no excuses. I know how badly I fucked this up. I'm not even looking for sympathy here. When my girlfriend got back from the wedding, she asked me why I lied to her. I didn't have any answers for her. All my explanations just made it worse and didn't really explain anything. I tried to apologize, but she didn't want to hear it. It was the worst week of my life. It was almost like she was freezing me out. At one point, she asked me if we ever talked about her in the group chat for our fantasy league. I didn't even have to answer. She just said, "It's not nice, right?" And I think that was the turning point. I never want to see her cry, and the worst part is knowing that I did this because I was stupid and didn't stand up to my friends. She said she doesn't think that we're compatible and we shouldn't date anymore. She didn't want to accept my apologies, and I understand, and I won't bother her now. She went to stay with her family for another week, and now I've heard that she came back because of her job, pharmacist, and now she's staying with friends. But I will leave her alone. I'm looking for another place to live because our lease is up at the end of the month. She left 2 weeks ago, and it feels empty, and the worst part is I know that it's my fault. I barely care about watching football now, and normally I would be excited about it because my team is in first place. If you take anything away from this post, don't put your friends over the person that you love. Learn to stand up to your friends. I learned my lesson after all this. In the comments, so what were you guys saying about her in the group chat? Oh, just some unexamined misogyny disguised as humor, I'm sure. I was expecting that she was being rude or mean or annoying, but just because she was washing them? Soft. Men who can't handle women beating them at something are so pathetic. I couldn't handle the weakness of it all either. Wipes the floor with regular players multiple times in a row? It must be beginner's luck or something. Sounds like she's genuinely better than all of you, bro. If it was beginner's luck, then logically the next season should be cool, right? Dude knows that it wasn't luck. She's just better than them in multiple ways and bruised their ego. I bet if a guy had wiped the floor with them, they'd have high-fived him and admired his skill. But since it's a girl, they go, wah, wah, I don't want to play with her anymore. I hope they all stay miserable incels forever. Yeah, that's pretty sad. And the group chat makes it even worse, OP. You are the company that you surround yourself with. So, obviously not positive, because whatever positive company you did have in your girlfriend has now departed from your life. Think about that. Think about in the future how your consequences might have actions and how you might be able to not have this happen again in the future. You're old enough to not be a dickhead, so I think it's time to start thinking with your brain and decide if the company that you're keeping currently is worth it going into the future. Good luck with that. Our next post has a trigger warning for attempted sexual assault and physical violence. This is by a deleted account, and it's titled, My 25 female, boyfriend 28 male, and his friend/our roommate 27 male found my blog and tried to reenact a scene from a fanfic that I wrote, thinking that because I wrote it, then I'd be down for a cuckold situation. I was not, and ended up biting/punching roommate. Okay, so this is a lot, but please bear with me. I've had the most jarring and stressful 2 days, and I'm at a loss of what to do. I'm not even sure how to explain this. A lot happened in a very short window of time, and it left me confused and scared. But to start, my boyfriend apparently found my blog where I write/post fanfiction in my spare time. It wasn't a secret blog. I've told him about it in passing, but he just didn't seem interested. Most of it is safe for work, but there's some not safe for work stuff as well. Only around 10% of the not safe for work stuff are things that I actually wrote for myself because I thought they were hot. The rest are commissions that people paid me to write. Please understand that a lot of them involve kinks and fetishes that I myself am no way interested in. I wrote them to meet the specifications of the people paying me. I have no issue with the stuff I wrote, though I do have hard limits on what I will write and won't write things that make me uncomfortable. But it just isn't my cup of tea. Now my boyfriend apparently went through and read some of my not safe for work stuff and got a few ideas of things that we could try in the bedroom. Fine. Normal. But instead of talking to me about it in private, he thought that it would be more real and sexy if he were to surprise me. So he went to his friend, who was also our roommate, and got him into the idea of a threesome-type situation. My boyfriend is bi, but I'd assumed RM was straight, so I don't even know how that conversation went. But they planned to surprise me when I got home from shopping. When I got home, roommate said that boyfriend went to visit his parents. They live 10 minutes away, and I said, all right, and started putting stuff away with his help. After it was done, I turned around, and roommate was literally 3 inches from me and backed me up against the fridge. I've never felt nervous around him, but in that moment I was very scared. He was acting strange and was too close. I asked him to back up, but he refused and said he knew I liked him, which in truth I had, Almost a year before, I'd had a very mild physical crush on him, but I never once entertained the idea of doing anything about it because I was already in a relationship. After living with him, though, the crush very quickly faded. I was mad at this point. He was giving me a very smug/satisfied look, like he knew what I was feeling better than me. He suggested that we get closer, he used a grosser term, and that boyfriend wouldn't have to find out. I was fucking stunned. Roommate and boyfriend have been friends longer than I've known either of them, which is close to a decade. So to hear him just bluntly say that we should cheat together was fucking insane, and I didn't get to say anything besides, "What?" before he leaned down fast and kissed me on the mouth. Everything happened so fast, it felt like I moved in fast motion. I bit roommate on the mouth, breaking skin, and when he pulled himself back, I didn't hesitate and punched him in the face. He ended up on the floor yelling. I grabbed my phone and was going to call 911 when, to my surprise, boyfriend came running out of roommate's room looking panicked. He saw roommate on the floor bleeding and me standing back against the fridge with blood on my mouth. Not a lot, but enough to see. After that, things sort of blurred and we all ended up screaming at each other. I found out boyfriend found my blog, shared it with roommate, and they went through the not safe for work stuff and unilaterally decided the stories were me projecting my sexual desires onto the characters. And boyfriend thought that I would be really into all of us acting out one of the fanfics. I screamed at him that he was a fucking whack job and that all those stories were commissioned work that people paid me to write. I was shaking. I was and still am so fucking mad. I felt sick, like I was going to throw up, because of how scared I got with roommate getting so sexually aggressive with me. I thought I was going to be assaulted in my own home. Boyfriend tried to apologize, but I told him to fuck off. Then I grabbed some clothes and left. I went to my sister's house and just cried after she let me in. I feel bad for that because her daughter was there and saw me break down. I didn't mean to scare her or my sister. Once I wasn't ugly sobbing anymore, I told her everything, and she said that I should call the cops and report them for it. But I don't know if that's too extreme. I don't know what to do. Boyfriend's been calling me, but I've not answered or listened to any of the voicemails he left me. I still feel violated and scared. Too much to think about going back right now. Roommate texted me a few times, apologizing, but I've not replied to him either. I'm just laying on my sister's couch alone at nearly 1 a.m., unsure what to do now, how to move forward. Aside from this huge fuck-up, boyfriend's been a great boyfriend. He's not perfect, but neither am I. But this is really a massive fuck-up, and I feel lost. Do I talk to him? Just break things off? Ghost him? I left all my stuff at the house. Is there any way to salvage this? Would I be dumb to try? In the comments, Demo Beck says, "Oh wow. First off, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. Secondly, I think you should take some time off away from your boyfriend. If he thinks springing a sexually aggressive roommate on you without prior warning is okay, then I'm not sure what else he is capable of. He needs to realize just how fucked up that is and earn your forgiveness. Regardless, even if you had begged and begged for weeks for this threesome, there would still be times, dates, place limitations. You would be fully aware. Being sexually attacked in your own home must have scared the life out of you." OP replies, "Yeah, I'm not going to be going back to the house for a while. I just don't think that I'd be mentally okay to, and the funniest part is that we've talked about three-ways before, years ago. Not like we're planning to do one, but we'd been talking one night in bed, and we talked about kinks and stuff, you know? I said I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I'd have to really, really trust everyone involved. I'm not someone who can just sleep with someone that I'm not close to, which roommate is not someone that I'd ever say I'm close to. We were, and I emphasize were, borderline friends, sort of, but only in that we see each other every day and are okay with each other way. I just don't know what happened." Demo Beck replies, "I guess that book just slammed shut for a while. Honestly, take all the time you need. Let him sweat. Someone else in this thread put it in the best way. Your boyfriend arranged your sexual assault. From your point of view, that's exactly what happened, and he needs to understand that. OP says, I like to hope that if I actually started screaming or crying, then roommate would have realized something was wrong and stopped. But at this point, I'm totally unsure, and that's fucking horrifying. I'm sorry to say this, but do you really think someone who agreed to this scenario in the first place would recognize that you're not playing along? I can't get my head around the roommate thinking that it would be a good idea. Two men who were close to you went through several stages of failing to protect both you and your trust in them. Personally, I know I would never go back. But love does crazy things to people. OP replies, Christ, I don't want to think so. But fuck, how does he think that this was all right? I feel like I've been doing nothing but crying all day since yesterday. I don't want to start crying again. I might wake my niece, but I feel so torn up. Look, OP, this was just sexual assault. I don't see how you could ever fix this one with your boyfriend, and how you could ever trust either of them ever again after this. The fact that it devolved into a huge shouting match and argument between all three of you, and not like them apologizing for springing this on you and realizing what they did and how messed up it was, I feel like that's all you need to know. You just need to get the hell away from the both of them, stay away from them, and move on with your life. These are not people that I feel like should be trusted going forward, and none of what they did was okay. Do not let the sunk cost fallacy draw you back in. That is not a good idea in this situation. And now, on to the update. So my original post got a ton more attention than I thought it would. Talking with everyone really made me step back and see how serious what happened to me was, and helped me to come to a smart decision, I believe. And a lot of people messaged me and offered a bunch of support and advice that I appreciate. Some asked if I would post an update once I figured out what I was going to do, to see if I was alright, etc. So here I am. To start off, I realized there is no salvaging this relationship. Not after this. There's no way that I can continue to date someone who would actually go through with something this messed up. Especially all on his own, without even trying to see if it was something that I'd even want. Even in the best case scenario, he would just be a massive asshole who didn't look before he leaped into an unthinkably terrible idea. But worst case scenario, this whole thing was a lot more malicious than I'd like to dwell on. Neither option puts him in a flattering light. So boyfriend is now officially X. A couple of days after posting, I finally sat down and listened to / read all the voicemails and texts that X and roommate had left me. I was hoping for some insight into what they were thinking when they did this. But sadly, most of it was just them begging forgiveness in the same breath that they used to make excuses for everything. Saying that it was all a mistake, they didn't think it would hurt me, they were just trying to do something nice, that they thought that I would like it, could I please talk to them? Typical stuff that some folks on here told me they would say. Then their pleas for forgiveness slowly turned exasperated and annoyed the longer that I didn't pick up or reply. Finally, X asked me not to do anything crazy, like go to the police, because this was clearly all one big misunderstanding, and if I did, it could ruin how people see them, or worse. That was when it really hit me that neither of them seemed to actually feel bad for what they had done. They weren't ashamed of cornering me and almost raping me. They were just scared that I would tell everyone and they would get looked at funny. I took everyone's advice and filed a police report. I don't feel like it'll even go very far, but people were right. There needs to be a paper trail in case anything messed up like this happens again, be it to me or any other women they happen to enter relationships with. My sister went and sat with me while I told an officer everything. I even showed them the text messages and voicemails. To their credit, the cop who was handling this actually took everything down like he sorta cared. Whether they follow up with anything is up in the air. I wasn't ready to meet in person with either of them, but I needed my stuff out of their apartment, so I waited until I knew that they were both working. Their shifts overlapped a couple of times a week, and when their cars were gone from the lot, my sis, brother-in-law, mum, and I all came and got my things. Thankfully, we got everything of mine out, which included the microwave, living room TV, all the spices and various kitchen stuff, half the cleaning supplies, the lazy boy chair, the washer and dryer, and some other miscellaneous things on top of my personal possessions. All things that they can live without. There's a laundry room available at the apartment complex, and they never actually cook, so they'll be okay. But later, my phone was blown up by ex and roommate when they got home and saw that I'd been there and taken all my stuff when they were at work. I texted them both a message saying that I wasn't coming back, ex and I were over. I got my stuff and left their keys sitting on the table and locked the door on my way out. I even took a pic as proof. Their messages were mostly along the vein of how will they pay rent now, despite both of them making enough to cover it until they get a new roommate, so long as they don't blow their money on frivolous bullshit. I was never on the lease, so legally, I'm fine on that front. I also said that I didn't want either of them contacting me in any way, shape, or form from here onward. I was going to block them on everything, and any further attempt to contact me would result in me getting a restraining order taken out on them. I didn't give them the chance to reply before I did, as I said I would, and blocked them. So far, they haven't tried contacting me, as far as I know, but we'll see. And finally, I'm still not feeling fantastic, but I feel much better than before. I'm still sort of anxious since everything, but I'm sleeping better now. I'm still going to work, but I did take a few days off to recuperate before heading back to the grind. I'm spending more quality time with my niece and sister/brother-in-law, which is nice. I've set up a remote session with a therapist and will meet them via Zoom soon. I think talking through this will be good for me. I just want to thank everyone who commented and made me realize that I'd been badly wronged. I was so ready to let my feelings for my ex influence my actions on this. I'm so glad that so many of you talked sense into me. It doesn't matter who someone is to you. Friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, etc. If they do something this terrible to you, then they probably don't actually love you, and more than likely don't deserve your forgiveness. In the comments, Stop Thinking It's Me says, Jesus, this is way worse than what I imagined based on the title. Having your trust broken this brutally by two people you thought you were safe with. I'm glad she made that guy bleed. Good for you, sis. Quote, I screamed at him that he was a fucking whack job. Okay, I get that people do stupid shit, but this is beyond crazy. OP's description fits perfectly. She's lucky she had family in the area, since she could have been stuck with these losers for a long time during lockdown. Also, lots of respect that she acted quickly to defend herself against sexual assault, because that's what this was. It broke my heart that she referred to actual SA victims. I hope she meant to differentiate between attempted versus completed SA, because she is absolutely, without any doubt, a survivor of actual SA. I couldn't agree more with that, and it breaks my heart just as much that she is referring to them as actual SA victims and, probably still is processing the weight of this situation. This is not an easy one to navigate at all, and I wish OP nothing but the best of luck in getting through this when she does fully process everything. You did the right thing getting out of there, OP. You did everything correct, blocking them, and I'm glad you did file a police report. At least there is a paper trail for if there is a follow-up, because then you can escalate it and have some actual justice. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for the update. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.